Hello and welcome in, my fellow Illumineers, card game fans, Disney fans, whoever brought you to this video. Welcome in. I'm excited to talk to you guys today. I've been looking at a bunch of card reveals. Lorcana has been blessing us recently, last like 2 weeks. They've just been dropping a bunch of cards, and there's a couple of really interesting ones that have been coming out. But today, actually, on the 6th, we got a new card revealed, which made me super excited, and I was like, alright, I can't wait anymore. I have to make a video. I have to talk about these cards. They're super cool, especially this one that I think is finally something we've been waiting to see for a long time, or something in this vein. It makes me super excited to think about it and like kind of theorize with it. So I'm not gonna go on too much of a spiel here. Let's just hop right into these cards and talk about them, and let's get excited for some Lorcana soon. First card I want to talk about, the one that made me super excited to make this video, is Tinkerbell Giant Fairy. She is one of the Floodborn cards. We haven't really seen too many Floodborn. I think this is like the 5th or 6th, which is pretty cool. And she's 6 ink for 4 strength, 5 willpower. And she has 3 abilities that are super awesome. She's also inkable herself, which is great. The first one we've spoken about previously on the channel, which is Shift. You may pay 4 instead of 6 to put her into play on top of one of your other characters named Tinkerbell. So you can actually play her a little bit early. And you gain access to 2 abilities when she comes into play. The first being Rock the Boat. When you play this character, it'll deal 1 damage to every other character on the board. And the reason that gets me excited is it's the first, which is called Area of Effect damage, where it hits everything instead of like one individual character. Like, oh, I wanted to hit this one, or I want to hit this one. It hits everything, so it gets around the ward, and it pings the whole board. But more importantly, it hits Maleficent, which is the premium, like, aggressive 1-cost character. Play her on 1, you immediately start gaining 2 lore, and you kind of want to like play a character or challenge her yourself. So I feel like decks may start to play bodyguards or play ward to kind of keep that Maleficent safe, right? So you can't just challenge her, and you can't remove her with like a single target removal spell. But now you don't have to worry about that because you have Tinkerbell. So even if you've challenged, let's say, Maleficent earlier, they play like a Hades on 4, bring their Maleficent back, play her again, like, haha, she's back. You're like, great, Tink. You just blow her up. It's great. They have 2, blow them all up. 3, doesn't matter. They're all going away. Unless something gives them more willpower, obviously. But Tinkerbell's just coming in, clearing them all. It's phenomenal. The second ability is Puny Pirate. During your turn, whenever she challenges another character and banishes them, she can then deal 2 to another character. And the reason this is great is because it's on a card with Shift. So if you play the smaller Tinkerbell the turn before it lives, you may draw for turn, play your ink for 4, exert all 4 of your ink, slam Tink on top, and deals 1 to everything, can attack immediately, challenging something, removing it, and then also dealing 2 to something else. So you can potentially clear like 2 or 3 characters in one fell swoop, play her, challenge a small one, then deal 2 to another, so you're getting rid of 2, and you've lost no cards at all, right? Because you keep your Tink, you keep the Tink that's under her, technically. Maybe you can count shifting as like a -1 because you're losing the smaller Tink in the exchange. But you're great. You still have a 4-5 or 4-3, 4-2, whatever it'll be after challenges, and you're removing 2 characters that your opponent controls, which is a really great tempo swing. Where now maybe you're in command of the board, like you have the strongest character. You've kind of beaten them off of having a presence, which is phenomenal. And on top of that, the 1 damage and her being in the game in general is going to affect the way your opponent thinks about their plays, which is always something you're looking for when you're deck building, right? You want to have cards in your opponent's head that make them think differently about how they're going to play. So maybe before this card was revealed, you would be totally comfortable having your character challenge and go down to 1 will because you're like, well, it's still alive. Yeah, it is, but now that I have Tink as an option, you might be like, do I want my character to be on 1 willpower? Because my opponent might be playing this, and now I'm going to lose that character after I thought I did an advantageous trade, right? So now it makes you think a little bit differently about which challenges you want to take and which challenges are worth it, or maybe you take more of a risk and just go questing instead of challenging. It affects the way your opponent thinks, which is great. You always want more things to think about. It makes gameplay more dynamic. And on top of that, because you're in steel, you have access to Fire the Cannons, which is 2 more damage. So now you can swing, beat something, deal 2, deal another 2, get rid of a 4. Or a 5, because you deal 1 to it, right? So you deal 1 on play, 2 from her ability, 2 from my Fire the Cannons. Something that had 5 health and 5 will, and now it doesn't exist anymore. So card's super, super cool. I'm super excited about it. It also quests for 2, making her a high priority target, and I think it's great because it's good that she works by herself, just as a 6 cost. You can play her and maybe clean some stuff up, right? And she also makes your opponent want to remove your smaller Tinkerbell. So you can play the Tiny Tactician, the one that was revealed previously. The 3 cost can be inked, 2/4 with 1 lore and her battle plans. Tap or exert to draw a card, then you choose and discard a card from your hand. So now when you play that Tink, maybe before your opponent wouldn't have been so concerned, but now again, something else they have to think about is, oh, I leave that Tink on the board, big Tink can come down and ruin my day. So now it might be, instead of I'm going to play more tiny minions and just build my board of little tiny guys that are going to get a bunch of lore on my next turn, maybe now I need to start thinking about, okay, do I not play more minions, right? Do I not play more characters? Do I not challenge? Maybe I just quest with what I have, or maybe I try to use removal on Tinkerbell, Tiny Tactician, or try to exert it so I can challenge it. Maybe Tinkerbell's the one I want to exert. It's cool. There's a lot of things I'm thinking about, and it's just too early to tell, but it makes me excited, right? It's something that may be able to push us to play more expensive cards, which I think is great, because up until now there hasn't been too much of a reason to play super expensive stuff. You kind of wanted to play a little bit earlier, and it's great to see these types of cards being revealed, and it shows the depth of gameplay that we can look forward to over the next couple of sets, or even just this one set in general, which is great. And I'm also loving that smaller Tink draws a card and then discards a card, because she helps you get through your deck a little bit faster, so you can help look for Tinkerbell, the giant. And if you're in a matchup where maybe Giant Tinkerbell isn't doing that much for you, you can just play her in your Inkwell, which is fantastic. Most cards that have that many abilities that we've seen that thus far, or have a strong ability in general, can't be inked, but she can. So she gives you the best of both, and I think it's phenomenal. So the next card that they revealed alongside of Tink, it's Simba, Protective Cub. It's a 2 cost, can be inked, 2 strength, 3 will, and Simba has Bodyguard, right? So when you play Simba, you may play him exerted, and then when your opponent challenges, it has to challenge your characters with Bodyguard first. So you may play them both together in the same deck, and you'll have your Tink, and then you can play Simba, or maybe you play Simba first, and you have Tink, and you have options, right? Play Simba on 2, don't exert. Next turn, quest. Now he's a bodyguard. Cool. Play Tink. Yeah, you can't attack my Tink. And now the turn after that, turn 4, I'm going to play Big Tink, and I'm going to swing the whole board back on you. And if they challenge your Simba and live at 1, that character they challenged with is also getting destroyed by Big Tink. So, more dynamic gameplay. Super, super cool. Simba's a pretty basic card. I think he's really good. I think he has premium stat line. 2/3 for 2 is great. And you get Bodyguard alongside of it for free, basically, which is super, super cool. Where a card like Tink, most card games, 3 cost is a 3/4 or a 4/3. So you're giving up 1 strength to gain the ability to draw and discard, which is totally worth it. I think they're both phenomenal cards. And the reason why I bring these up together is because they also revealed Simba, I believe it was last week, Future King. It's a 1 cost character. It can be inked. It's a 1/2, and its ability is, guess what? When you play this character, you can draw a card and then discard a card. So between Simba drawing and discarding, Tink drawing and discarding, Steel looks like it has the cards to, at the very least, get you to the things you want, right? So when you play a card game, you're really primarily looking to either draw cards to gain more options, right? So something like everybody's favorite Pot of Greed, 1 card that draws 2. You gain 1 additional card for the trade, and you have more options now. More options is what you're looking for. Things like Simba and also Tink, they don't give you more options, but they let you see more things, which is fantastic. Especially for a 1 cost card, that's really, really good. And if you're playing Amber Steel, that means you have access to Hades. So you could even draw a card, discard a character, play Hades, get that character back later. So now you're gaining more options, right, by getting the plus off of Hades. It's super cool. I think it's cool. I think it also lends itself to Simba, Returned King, the one that's coming in the starter deck. 7 cost character, can be inked, which is great. It's a 4/6, gains 4 when it challenges, and Simba can challenge evasive characters on your turn because he has Pounce. Also, he quests for 2 lore as well, which is really, really good. But problem with Simba was he was kind of expensive. 7 cost is a lot. 7 cost for a 4/6 is a lot. It seems like kind of understated. You are getting 2 lore. You are getting the ability to change, like challenge evasive, which is cool, right? Maybe they give Maleficent evasive, but now you can challenge it. Maybe they give another character evasive and you can challenge it. So it's giving you more control options, like more ways to answer your opponent's cards. But without a card like Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, which lets you clear multiple things, it wasn't very realistic to kind of climb to these higher cost cards. Definitely doable, but they're getting better. And that makes me super happy. So I'm so excited to see stuff like that. The other card I wanted to bring up now that was revealed also was Rapunzel letting down her hair. This was also, I believe, it was like last week. And the reason I want to bring Rapunzel up is that I feel like she's getting a little bit of extra hate, and I don't know why. So she's not amazing. She is a 6 cost, and she cannot be inked, which is unfortunate. 5 strength, 4 willpower. Also not the greatest stat line. But when you play her, each opponent loses a lore. And she quests for 2 lore herself. So I think she's at least interesting. Maybe she won't be like the best option for a deck, right? But she can definitely be a really solid budget option. Because she looks like a common, pretty inexpensive. And in multiplayer games where you have 3 or 4 opponents, or more, however many people you're playing with, she takes 1 lore from all of them. So now that we've seen a card like Tink, if we get something similar, or you're playing Steel Ruby, you can play Tink, clear a couple characters, next turn follow up with Rapunzel, or 2 turns later follow up with Rapunzel. Now your opponent's lost a bunch of characters, and they lose lore, and now your Rapunzel and your Tink are going to start questing for 2, right? So that's what mid-range strategies look to do. You want to play solid, well-statted minions early, so you want to have your characters down a little bit early, and then gradually play bigger and bigger characters. But you need the tools to let you not just get beat down by like a bunch of small characters that get your opponent to 20 lore in like, 2 turns or 3 turns or 4 turns. So you need something to fight back against that, right? Even if you're trading your characters to do it. And I think Tinkerbell enables that, because you can swing, knock out 2-3 things, they knock out Tink, you're like, cool, that's fine. Now both of us have no characters or less characters. Hey, here's Rapunzel. Now you have less lore too. So you thought you were in a lore lead. Now maybe I'm in the lead. I took your lore away. I'm going to quest for 2 and start building it back. But yeah, again, I don't think she's super amazing. But people are saying she's like bottom 5 worst cards revealed, and like, I don't know, maybe she is, but I think she's got a chance. Also a small bias because I really like Rapunzel, but we'll see what happens. So the last card that was revealed today was an action card called Befuddle. It's 1 cost, Amethyst. Return a character or item with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. It is inkable, which is huge, right? Because it's more of like a situational card, I want to feel. The best use for it I can see right now is removing something like a Simba with Bodyguard to maybe be able to challenge one of your opponent's more important characters. But the caveat with that is we don't know what bodyguards people are going to be playing, right? So if we find ourselves with a bunch of decks that play a lot of small bodyguards like Simba, then it's fantastic, right? We have a removal. We know we can get rid of an important card, maybe temporarily, but in the moment we're removing it so that we have access to challenge something, or maybe we remove a character that gives other characters evasive, and now we may challenge the other ones. Things like that. We obviously can't remove Ward because it is a targeting. It's a single character, so that does target. Ward would prevent that. But it's very interesting. A couple other people were mentioning, too, you can use it on your own characters, which is an option, but you want to be careful with that, because if this could return any character, I would snap play this on Hades all day, every day. Play Hades, quest, bounce Hades, play him again, get another character back, right? I've lost no cards. My Hades is fresh and healed, and he's in play, ready. Can't be challenged. Like, that's good. You can also do it on smaller characters. Quest, bounce them, play them. They're not exerted, so my opponents can't challenge them. It does have its uses, but remember that when you play Befuddle on your own minion or your own item, you are taking a card away from yourself, right? Because you lose Befuddle, you lose the action, you play it and it's gone. So to bounce the card back, you need to be really gaining something big out of it. Most of the time when you're removing your opponent's cards, it's good because they have to pay ink to replay that card, so you're slowing them down even though you're not removing their game pieces. But that's probably a discussion for another video, but you get the idea. Just there's some combo potential in the future. There's definitely something with like maybe bouncing items. Definitely keep your eye on this. It's not like a shoe-in best card ever, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. It could be a really great addition to some decks, even as like maybe a 2 or 3 of, and then you wind up inking it sometimes, which is totally okay. Next card I want to go over is also a reveal from last week, but it's another one that got me super, super excited, which is Ariel, the 4-cost, not inkable, big unfortunate, 3 strength, 3 willpower, only 1 lore, because if it was any more than that, it would be overpowered, and it would just be crazy. So her ability is look at this stuff. Whenever you play an item, you may ready this character. And this is the first, like, real combo enabler that we've seen. So we've seen cards that will go with her, which we'll talk about in a second. But she's, like, the combo payoff. Your opponent, when they see Ariel, are going to want to remove her immediately. Because her ability is just like, no, I promise, I won't give my player 5+ lore next turn. Wink, wink, yes, I will. And your opponent knows you're going to do that, right? So they're going to try to do anything in their power to get your Ariel off the board. That's how good she is, right? Because we had cards revealed before. Belle, the Inventive Engineer, 4 cost, which could be inked, 2/3. 2 lore pips, too. It actually makes her also very strong. And her ability is Tinker. Whenever you quest with Belle, you pay 1 less for your next item. And then also Maurice, world famous inventor, for 6 is a 2/7. When you quest with Maurice with Give It a Try, your next item costs 2 less. And then his other ability is it works. Whenever you play an item, you may draw a card, right? So the items that we've seen so far are like Dingle Hopper, which heals for 1, Magic Mirror, which lets you draw cards for some ink investment, Beast's Mirror, things like coconuts, stuff like that, like things that heal, or Frying Pan, like things that slow your opponent down, but they don't draw you cards unless you're also paying ink in the form of like Magic Mirror or Beast Mirror, and nothing that's like really does damage to a character as of yet. So depending on what items we get, this deck will obviously get better, but just the way it is right now, it's already getting somewhere interesting, right? Because you could play Aurora in the same deck and give all your characters Ward. So now if you play Ariel behind Ward, she's not exerted, so she can't be challenged, and she has Ward, so you can't remove her. You're gonna have to do some other type of combo, like play Tink, deal 1 damage, then play the new beast that was revealed to exert everything, and it's like, now that she's exerted, I can swing in, right? But as of right now, like you can try to protect her to keep her around for the 1 turn, and then on your turn you can quest with Ariel, you gain 1, quest with Maurice, gain 2 more, you're at 3. Oh, my next item is free, I play an item, Ariel untaps, I draw a card. Now I tap Ariel again, she's exerted, I'm at 4 lore. And then I drew a card. That could be another item. And now I'll pay 2 for the item and play it. She readies again. Okay, she's ready. I'm going to quest again. And now you're at 5. Like, you can easily rack up 5, 6, 7, 8 with her. So this is like the type of controlling card that we were looking for different options in the deck, right? Because playing characters and having them challenge each other is a lot of fun. Like, that's going to be probably most of the more fun games that you experience, where you're actively fighting back and forth. But it's also cool to have strategies where you can maybe clear characters with action cards or songs, and then gain a whole bunch of lore in 1 turn off of Ariel, maybe enough to win a game. Maybe you gain 20 straight. You just play a bunch of Ariels, and then you tap 4, and you untap 4, and then you tap 4, and everyone you haven't played just exponentially adds up. So it's super cool. Like I said, it changes the way the game works. It changes the way your opponent thinks about it. I'm super, super excited about these cards. I want to know what you guys think, what your favorite cards are, what cool combos you see, if any of these piqued your interest, what other cards you might be looking forward to, because these are some of the types that I was definitely looking for, and I'm super, super happy they're in the game. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. If you like the content, please give me a like, hit subscribe if you want to see more. I'm definitely going to be making some more Lorcana videos for you guys. Super, super hyped to be in this community. Everybody seems super happy and like welcoming, and great space for new TCG players and veteran TCG players alike, for Disney fans especially. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited to be going to Gencon next month, getting all these cards and playing with them for the first time, maybe having some cards revealed by opening them in packs that we've never seen before, because we'll see. We'll see if we get the whole set or not before they reveal it. I'm super hyped. Let me guys, let me know if you want me to do a video where I go over like when you should be challenging and like what card advantages and like maybe some of the more technical TCG terms and ideas that newer players may not be ready for. I'm super excited for that. I may actually make that video. I haven't really decided yet because I've been playing TCGs for a very long time, and I think it might be beneficial for some newer players. But let me know what you think. As always, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me and watching the video all the way to the end. I appreciate all your support, and I'll see you Illumineers next time. Peace.